And thank you. Perfect. Thank you so much. So, going to this slide again, we have this powerful work, but we struggle to explain it. And my hope is that after you go through this training, and we're not going to go through all of it because it's more of a coaching session for us. You are going to know more about how to make this happen. Okay? So the question that really needs to be answered is this: what exactly do you do? All right? Every funder, legislator, and community partner will ask this. And your answer sets the tone for everything that follows. Now, what I've found is, because I've been in about 1,500 to 2,000, I keep forgetting the numbers because I've been doing it so long, various workforce sites. And when I ask somebody what they do, I'm a case manager. What am I do? I'm a social worker. What do you do? I'm a job. What am I? You're executive director. They don't add anything to it. Literally, that's who I am. So this is important to understand as far as what I think is important in this space. We have to see our job assignments as the impact aspect of it versus the title. Please write that down as a note. The impact aspect of it versus the title. Yep. Yeah. And so that's why this is so important. And thank you for sharing that. And you're not alone. You know another reason why is because in workforce development we have a tendency to work in silos. And so that's one of my favorite things to do is team building, because we need to know what each other's doing, and we need to be able to know each other's stories. That's kind of a big part of what I do in my work through coaching and training. But we hope that that'll change at some point here soon with you. Okay? So workforce professionals often devote to describing programs, processes, or compliance requirements the internal language of operations, not the language of impact. Lead with impact. Open with a short, vivid success story about a real person. Then explain the services and programs you made that made the outcome possible. Start with people and transformation, not just programs. Audiences connect with individuals, not acronyms. It's kind of funny when you think about it, but it's the truth. So let me give you an example. Years ago, I ran a program by the name of HYPE. And HYPE, this is a long story, so I don't expect anybody to craft stories like this, but this story won us a lot of funding. And HYPE was an acronym for Helping Youth Pursue Excellence. In the program, we had about 150 kids, all who were considered quote unquote at risk and financially, all the things we hear about the groups that we work with. There was one young man in our program by the name of Corey who his situation was really rough. He was kicked out of school. He was having trouble in his community, a variety of things. So he's one of those kids a lot of people gave up hope for. So in our program, we put together systems and core philosophies. One of our core philosophies was kids are not committed to programs, kids are committed to people. All right? And the other core philosophy was a student with a dream is a student with a future. However, a student with a dream is fueled by a caring adult who believes in their dreams. So armed with that, what we did was, that's how we treated him. We didn't let his circumstances dictate how we treat him. We let our values dictate how we treat him. And we had to go through, I don't want to go through all the details, but a month of connecting with him, building trust. I personally mentored him. I'd say, I want to see this guy succeed. And it was the most amazing thing. So he went through our summer work program without a glitch. We were nervous because we weren't sure because of the way he operated, but because we were mentoring and coaching him, he made it through. We were able to get him back in school at this high school that was going to give him a chance because nobody wanted to give him a chance. And an amazing thing happened 3 months later. This young man walks into my office, breaks all the protocol because he's supposed to schedule an appointment. He did not. Walked past my secretary, walked past some of my staff, and walked right into my office, didn't even knock on the door. That's why I love my teenagers. Even though, again, that's not all we work with, but that's this case is a situation. He said, Coach, I need to see you. I said, man, you need to schedule an appointment. He said, Coach, no, I need to see you right now. And he holds up this piece of paper, and it had his name on it. 3.72 grade point average at this high school. He's now a college graduate. He's now a father, beautiful kids. And why am I saying that? That's the impact of the work that we do. Now, could you imagine a funder hearing that? And they're like, that's what you're doing in here? Hey, we're going to keep the dollars rolling. Or if you hear a community person, man, you have an impact with kids in our community. You see, policymakers, that's why we release the dollars to do these type of things. So all the key stakeholders love to hear stuff like that because it makes sense to them. And what was interesting was this. That story was so prominent that the state started using it with other folks that were out there. You see? So I shared a long one, but they don't have to be that long, and we want to talk about people and transformation, not just programs. So I'm sorry, these pictures that I had in there just for some reason just not coming in. So why storytelling matters: one, data informs, numbers establish credibility and discriminate scale. Stories influence, narrative create emotional connection and drives decisions. Funders invest in missions they believe in and can feel. And I'm going to say this as well, and this is what I've been sharing with workforce development groups all over the country. Don't just rely on one funding source. There's lots of money out here. You know what I mean? Yes, we want our WIOA dollars. Yes, we want the state dollars. But there's private organizations that are looking for places to put dollars. So we need to be positioning ourselves for that as well. Yeah. And so research consistently shows that decision makers, even data-driven ones, are moved to action by stories. All right, because there are a lot of folks that are more on the data side, but they still like stories. A well-crafted workplace narrative doesn't replace your metrics. It gives them a heartbeat. Does that make sense? You did what I'm saying? It takes it from just metrics to touch, I can feel this. The impact of this work. All right. So who needs your story? Policymakers. They need ROI, economic data, and constituent impact. Funders. They seek the evidence of results, scalability, and responsible stewardship of resources. Employers want to know how your graduates solve their workforce and talent challenges. The community respond to human transformation, hope, and local neighborhood improvement. And participants need to see themselves as worthy of investment. Story builds dignity and agency. All right. Let me pause for a moment. Do you have any questions? I don't want to just keep going. But does this make sense to you? Like, is it something that you see is advantageous in your work space? All right. Just want to see if you have any questions. Okay. All right. If you have no questions, we'll just move on. Okay. Okay, so when and where do you use the success stories? Funder and government meetings. Lead with a story before presenting data. Give decision makers a face to attach the numbers before making funding choices. Community events and forums. Public audiences connect with real people, not program names. Stories build trust to make your organization approachable and memorable. Board presentations. Board members need to see more than dashboards. A compelling story reminds them that the organization's mission matters at a human level. And media. I loved media when I was running my programs. I wanted them to be a partner with us, and they were, which was really great. So we were constantly sending out press releases to these folks. Journalists and social media audiences need a narrative hook. A strong individual story makes your work newsworthy and shareable. All right, so always be prepared with 2 to 3 powerful current stories that represent the breadth of your organization's work. Rotate them to regularly keep messaging fresh. I would like to ask you a question. You can say yes or no. Is it possible for you to think of maybe a story in your years of doing this work? I don't know how many years you've been here, and maybe one particular person that you can point to and maybe share a little bit about? It doesn't have to be crafted in a perfect story. Just want to see, if you can point out, a particular person that you can say, man, we had impact with that person. Is there anyone there that you can think of that you would like to share? Yes, no, maybe so. We used to say that a long time ago. Yeah. Okay. And so the cost of not telling your story is misunderstood value, reduced funding, and low staff morale. Teams lose motivation when the significance of their daily work goes unrecognized. So we want to make sure that, it's not just helping us from the outside, but it's also helping us in the inside. I think one of the reasons why it was easy to cut funding is because we didn't have enough stories to tell. Like, you know what I mean? It just was perceived that we were given dollars, and I think that became convincing to some people. So I think this is a saving grace for us. So let's move on. So let's do this. I don't want to go through each of these slides, but I'm just going to mention these real quick. But stories can come from people who complete training programs, new hires, career advancers, or people we work with, and barrier breakers. People who overcame various barriers to achieve success. Okay? All right, so you want to document stories regularly. It could be you, a teammate, whatever, but to document it and keep a track record of this. Matter of fact, nowadays, living in the world this thing right here is beautiful if they're willing to share testimony. You know what I mean? If they're willing to share some information with you, to be able to talk about how your program impacted them, it's a tremendous tool. Okay? So these are just a few people. All right? So take a snapshot of this because it's, this is more of a coaching session. I don't want you to have to do all of this now. All right. If we had like a bunch of people in here, I would say let's do it together. Okay. And so think about 2 to 3 things you do every day in your role. Now, what I want you to do is this: reframe each of one as an impact statement that speaks to the human outcome, not the activity. Does that make sense? All right. So what that means is, like, think about every day I'm case managing. Would that be considered correct? In your Yeah, every day I'm case managing. Mm-hmm. All right. So again, reframing the story would be, okay, it wouldn't be I'm case managing. That wouldn't be something I would say. Right. It would be, every day I get the opportunity to impact somebody's life. So look at the impact language. See, the task language, you're like, what do I do every day? I enroll clients in the programs. Right. I submit reports to funders. I schedule job readiness workshops, which I love to do, by the way. I think they're fantastic. And then impact language would be, I help individuals access life-changing career opportunities. You see that? The difference? Yeah. I document the transformation our community is experiencing through maybe my case notes. Mm-hmm. I equip people with skills that open doors to economic stability. That sounds more exciting to me. It does. Yeah. And that's the beauty of it. Now, so think about that in your assignment, in your work, and then you don't have to do it now, but screenshot this or take a picture with your phone and go back and do it. Mm-hmm. And say, and rethink the way that I share what I do on a day-to-day basis. Okay? Mm-hmm. And this on another note too, I used to spend a lot of time in Vineland. Yeah, I used to do a lot of work with the school district. Oh, yep. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. They used to come in and have me work with the students and the teachers. And I had a year-long contract, so I would come in. I was there all the time. Yep.
They
Hmm.
need you back.
Oh, well, somebody can open that door. I'll be willing to come back. Nowadays it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Right.
So if you know that superintendent, I'd love to meet him because that's who had put me in there years ago. There was a
Wow.
lady. I'm gonna tell you how long ago it was. There was a lady. Her name was Vera Hextall, and
Hmm.
You know Vera?
Yes,
Oh
I
wow!
do.
Oh my gosh! I mean, Vera's got to be up there now because
Yeah.
I went to her 62nd birthday party, so I know she ain't no 62 no more. That was many years ago,
Right.
and Vera was in the district, and she was the one I was doing a lot of work through. Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm. Yep. Yeah. See, look at that. See, I got a name. I dropped a name on you. Yeah. She was very healthy though, so I know she probably still flowing because she took such good care of herself. But.
Right.
Hmm. And so, but did this page make sense? You know what I mean? As far as things any questions?
No, it does. It does make sense to how you say things, and this is what I tell people all the time.
Hmm. Yep.
One thing I say in my class all the time is you don't have what you want because you don't know how to ask for it.
I like that. Yeah.
Right. And it's the
Yep.
same thing how words are important and how you present, and how you paint a picture with your words.
Big time. Big time. Well said. And so we need to be good at articulating things. We don't have to have like the best vocabulary,
Right.
but we need to know how to communicate. That's why I said when
Hmm.
we ran our programs, we we were big on making sure that it was clear what we were saying.
Right.
No one ever had to question it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And so if we had somebody come in to assess our program or audit our program, we were never nervous
Right.
because we know we had let's say the I's dotted and the T's crossed.
Right.
I think we only get nervous if those T's are crossed and those I's aren't dotted because we think they're going to see something.
Right.
But when you do it right, it really does have positive. So this is good because all it does, but just keep this term in mind, impact language. And all impact language is talking about the outcome.
Okay.
You know? Yep. And so I jokingly tell people like I've been married for 30 years, 31 years. And
Well,
oh
congratulations.
yeah,
That's a good thing.
that's a good thing, That's work, boy. It ain't easy, but you do it. But I tell people, I said, the best marriages are not the ones that everything is tactical. You know what I mean? Pay the bills, pay the car
Right.
note, pay this, and we do that. Our conversations are always around tactics.
Hmm.
The best ones, and when you could talk about, man, I just love what you did for me today. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Or, man, that was a nice walk. I enjoyed that walk. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or, boy, you gave me a letter or a card that really made my day. That's impact. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so, but I think my wife and I are coaching in marriage, and a lot of people get so caught up in the day-to-day tactics stuff. They don't. That's when they start having problems. So anyway, it's the same. It's the same thing in work. So let's go on. So what makes a powerful story, workforce story, is it's real, it's relatable, and results
Hmm.
driven. Those are three R's:
Right.
real, relatable, and results driven.
Driven.
All right. Every
Hmm.
compelling workforce story ends with a measurable or tangible change, a job, a wage increase, a life transform. That's it. You know what I mean? And real is grounded in actual participant experience, no composites or exaggerations. Authenticity builds trust with every audience, and I think that's so true. Relatable, the audience must see themselves or someone they care about in the story.
Hmm.
Emotional recognition is what creates connection. That young man I was telling you about, he started telling that story for our organization. We created a speakers bureau.
Hmm.
And we literally had some of our clients going out to speak. And I'll never forget, we had one of them that went to the White House
Wow.
because they were so interested in what we were doing. I went with them,
Hmm.
but she was so nervous. I said, "But you're gonna tell them from your heart where you are." And he got up there, and it was 400 people, and they gave him a standing ovation.
Wow.
That's my first and only time ever at the White House. The White House has a lot of space. People don't realize how big that place is. They got
Yeah.
it had like a big conference room in it. I said, "Geez." I said, I had no idea. I said, no wonder. I wouldn't mind living here myself. Pretty cool. But so just keep those when you think about building the story. What makes it powerful is real, relatable, and results driven. Now the framework is simple. This number one is the challenge. Who is the person? What real barriers, economic, educational person were standing in their way? Number two is the support. How did the support program step in? What specific, service, staff, or resource made a difference? The breakthrough. What was the turning point? A certification earned, a job offered, received, a skill developed. The moment things change. And what was the outcome? What does the success look like now? New employment, career advancement, economic stability, measurable result. So that's a simple framework that can be created for policymakers. It can be created for even clients themselves. It can be created for funders that may come in, our community. But this is just the framework, and I'm a huge framework person. I love my frameworks, and that's why you hear me say all these acronyms. Like my youth program was HIGHT, my adult program was BASIC, because we built around those, And our basic was building and sustaining internal change, because we felt there's like most of our clients that walking in, they got internal things going on. So we want to, how it is in your space. You got to help them internally process something. So does this page make sense to you as far as this framework?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
Good. Okay. And so who was served, what barrier exists, what you did, what changed, and the broader impact. You know what I mean? This is just a simple thing to commit. Now we had the one page before, but this was also just this expands upon it.
Right.
Okay? Paint that story. Name the obstacle, describe the specific service or intervention your program provided, state the measurable result, employment, wage, certification, housing, stability, broader impact, connect the individual outcome to a larger community, economic, or policy benefit. Okay? That's why I love story. I think storytelling is the greatest thing. Like I'm a father, and I got four beautiful. I always jokingly say I have four beautiful, good-looking kids that look just like their daddy. I always say that when my wife's not around. And but I have great kids. They're ages 15 to 28 now. But when they were little, I said, how am I going to get them to remember our family heritage? And I just started doing stories, telling them stories. About people in my life growing up, my grandparents who are no longer here, but they now know, and so that's a way that they carry their family into the next generation through storytelling.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's a powerful tool, and so you don't have to do this as well, but here's a story, the person, the challenge, the service provided, the outcome, and the broader impact. This is just a simple way of going about doing it. And like I said, you can make them short. You got 60-second ones. You got 3-minute ones. These are just things. So, but it's always about a real life scenario. You know what I mean? And everybody, the thing that's really interesting, is that we all got them. You know what I mean? We just don't communicate them. That's all.
Right.
We just, how it is. You wake up the next day, go to the next person. And don't realize we've already compiled a significant. Let me say something that was really amazing. This happened at GSETA, the Garden State Employment and Training Association. So I was the closing keynote speaker there many years ago, and they had 5 clients come up before I did my closing. And each of the clients shared their success story. I thought that was fantastic. I mean, it was awesome, man. They were sharing their stories, getting the hand claps. Oh, this is fantastic. But I was sitting at the table with the executive director and a few of the leaders. And I asked them a question because I wanted to see if they caught what I caught. And I said, what did you hear each of these people? What did they communicate that was clear? And, they just all bought in on, the impact of the organization. I said, yes. I said, but did they often even mention the organization. They were looking at me like, huh. No, they were saying, Miss Essie. You know what I mean? They were saying Mr. So-and-so. And I said, this is what you got to understand. Each person that works within our organization represents the organization.
Yes.
So when Essie does great, Violin does great. When Fred does well, Cherry Hill does well. So we have to understand that these people, as much as they're buying into the organization, they're buying into the organization through a person.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, if we own that right there, Miss Al, I'm telling you, it would change everything.
It would, yeah.
It would change
Definitely.
everything because we are all owning our spaces. So this is just another tool right here to build the story. And again, for time's sake and respect of your time, I'm just kind of giving you the layout. All right?
Okay.
All right. If you can, And then, so common story mistakes to avoid: too much jargon. WIOA, eligible participant. It's like we know that's that, but we don't want to prolong. Somebody might not even know what WIOA is. They were like, "What are you talking about?"
Mm-hmm.
And a story without a result is just a description. Always land on what changed, even if it's small. No emotion. Emotion is not fluff. It's the mechanism that makes information memorable and motivating. When you share, like I shared about Corey, and I'm still in his life all these years later. All these years I'm still in his life. And a lack of clarity. If your audience can't retell the story in one sentence, it's not clear enough. So we want to avoid that. So we want to turn data into this kind of coming. So these are something, because obviously with anybody that's funding, at some point the data thing is going to come up. So we don't want this to be the data alone. But it's good to have this. 85% of our participants secured employment within 90 days of program completion, with an average starting wage of $18 an hour. That's nice stuff to have too,
Mm-hmm.
because that shows impact. Like with us, back under WIA, that's what we were contracted under. We were proud that we had a 90% high school graduation rate of the students that we served. What was amazing about that is we also, back then under WIA, you did not have the contingency that you have in WIOA, where a large percentage have to be out of school youth, right? WIA, 85% was in school youth. We still made it 50-50, even though we didn't have to. So we had 50% in school and 50% out of school. With the out of school youth and the in school youth, we still had, because we had the out of school youth go back, and we still had a 90% graduation rate. We also had a 75% placement and retention rate with our adult program of participants over a 2-year period, because we coached the employers and we coached the clients. And so when they went into work, we didn't just leave them there. We would go in there and interact with them, interact with the employer. So we became a partner to the employer. Hence, we trained each person that you must stay on a job for a specific period of time to get some experience. And so the U.S. Department of Labor loved that statistic, because that's something they had not seen. So I'm saying these are just things, that bring all of this alive. We're coming down the home stretch with this. So these are the places when and where to use success stories, fund during government meetings, board presentations, community events. If you're not dealing with the board stuff, community events, and again, social, journalists and things of that nature, trying to get the story out to the larger public. All right. So, so this again is just something you don't have to do it now, but it's just some metrics if you want to do the data thing. When I tell story, I tell people this is not always necessary. A lot of times this is more for executive directors, I think. You know what I mean? When they're, because of the fact that they are always speaking to the folks who are providing the dollars. But it's still good to know about it, that we can look at the data and connect it to stories. So I won't spend a lot of time on this, but this is a good one as well. So one story, many versions. We want to. The big thing is with this is one core factor of your story stays the same. What changes is the emphasis, language, and reframing based on what audience cares most about. Skilled storytellers don't change the truth; they translate it. Okay, so again, it depends on who we're speaking to, and again, each person in the organization typically is speaking to a different person. You know what I mean? So this is important to understand. So you got policymakers, you got funders, you got community members. Okay, and so it shows here what the emphasis should be in those cases. You know, ROI, economic impact, taxpayer value, workforce pipeline, outcomes per placement, labor market alignment. These are just policymakers. Funders, result, achieve model, scalability, organizational capacity, sustainability plan, return on investment, replicatable model, systems change, things like that. Your investment this didn't change one life. It built a model that we can scale across the region. That's powerful when you go to people with that. Or over the policymakers, for every dollar investment, we return X in economic activity and reduced public assistance costs. And community members, Maria grew up 2 blocks from here. She's a medical assistant, and she's coming back to mentor others. Now that's like, wow, So these are just, when we talk about our stories, we want to be able to craft them in that manner. But I always say this real quick, and I'm going to get ready to wrap this up for us. Make sure that you focus in on what one makes sense to you. Okay. If you never talk to the funders, if you never talk to the policymakers, don't worry about it. If it's community members, then do that. Now, if the office is saying, or the location is saying, hey, we're going to have some people come in here asking questions, find out who those people are, if it's an audit, and speak their language. Like, you know what I mean? Because they were like this here, but they were like this more. You know what I mean? And so you can kind of combine the two. All right? And so again, don't worry about this, but just keep in mind there's a version for policymakers, there's a version for funders, and there's a vision for community members. Okay? And the goal of storytelling is to try to create something for all the key folks there. But also, last, I'm going to end with this. Just have a 60-second story. You know what I mean? Just a 60-second story. So you can just, and again, it could be 2 or 3 people, who, what you did, and what was the outcome. That's you know what I mean? And this may seem simple, but it's deeply profound. It really is deeply profound. And like I said, for me, one reason why I like to share this, do this training, which we do team building training, we do client connectedness training, we do staff development, we do it all. But I like this training because of what it did for us. Mm-hmm. It truly took us from an organization that was just like a pilot to, I think, we weren't number one, but there was when we were in Delaware, Del Tech, which was a college, got more funding than we did because they were a college, mm-hmm. but we were number 2.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Which was unusual for a then small minority-owned firm, mm-hmm. trying to get our feet wet in the industry, but they loved the results. So today I go out and train and work with organizations all over the country. Like I said, I'll be at NUB next week, but I get individual groups that bring us in to work with the staff and the clients. So we're out here, trying to make a difference. And this is just one way that we're trying to do it. So delivery principles: be real, be concise, be confident, slow down on the outcome. That is the moment that lands. That's the moment that lands. So I'm going to end it right there. Do you have any questions? Thank you for taking the time with me. Folks say
I've been waiting all day for this.
Well, thank you. And any questions? Does it make sense as what you just heard or read?
It makes absolute sense. The population that I have is so diverse. I didn't say anything in the beginning because I was finishing up and I had some people in the class. That's why I was typing.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
I had to, once they left, I put the camera on and stuff like that. But
yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you talk about telling stories, I've been with this agency. I'm going in my 10th year.
Okay.
But prior to that, I received services.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I always start my class with letting them know I sat where you sat.
That's powerful.
Right.
That's
so
powerful.
I understand, the anger, the fear, all of those things that you're going through.
Yeah.
And what I found out, it makes me more relatable.
It certainly does. Yes. Yes. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah.
And I still am connected to a lot of people. Like if I go to the hospital here in Vineland, I see people that I used to teach, and
Yeah.
they still saying, "Hey,
Yep.
I remember
Boom.
you in class," and then
Boom.
they tell other people.
Boom.
And I also have some previous students come back and share their story.
Bingo. There it is.
Right.
There it
One I'm still
is.
connected to is a young lady. I think I mentioned it last time. That was she was sex trafficked here from California.
Oh, wow. That's
She's
incredible.
amazing,
That's incredible. Even you think
right?
about that. Wow. Wow. Wow.
And she's
Yeah.
amazing. She's going through the program. We're still connected. I'm still helping her even though she's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it does
kudos to
really
you for that.
matter.
That's huge. That's huge. So many
Yep.
of these young, sadly, too many of our young ladies are going through that nowadays. You know, but you got me to thinking, and then I always tell people this. I think truly what you just said is right on point. The most impactful people are the people that have been there, man, that understand it.
Hmm.
And I'll share this with you. My mother was there. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? And
Yeah.
her life was changed. And
Hmm.
as a result, here I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I always talk about the generational impact of this thing. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like when she was transformed, I was transformed. She graduated from high school, I graduated from college. You know, it's like,
Right.
and so did my brother. And now I got 4 kids and 2 college graduates. One's about to graduate, and the 15 year
Hmm.
old 15-year-old that thinks she's gonna take over the world.
And she can. She
And she
can.
can, and she can, at my expense, because I'm the human.
Right.
I'm the human ATM to her. So, I was joking. She always said, she said to me about 2 years ago, "Dad, you're a human ATM." I said, "It's good to know that." But anyway, listen. Thank you for your time. I will send you a
Thank you.
copy of this if you want to share it with your peers and colleagues.
Yes.
And I always tell people when I do these, I mean, just hey, keep us in mind. We work with school districts. Like I said, I worked with your district for a long time. And if you
Hmm.
have ever seen the need for someone to come in and consult and train on building these systems, that's what we do. So
Okay.
feel free to share it with your directors and let them know. Who is the director of your organization? Who is the, I may know him, you know. Um,
Who
yeah.
who is our director? We because we've just had major changes.
Yeah, change. Okay, got you.
So
So,
and some people left. A lot of
yeah.
people are retiring.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense
Um,
though, because some of the folks have been around for a long time. Yeah,
right.
but don't worry about it. I
Which
was just kind of
which
curious.
is a whole nother issue. When you've been here
Yeah,
that long, I think sometimes you can lose compassion.
yeah, yeah. And you see so much if you're not intentionally thinking about
Hmm.
it. Yes, you get caught up in the problems instead of the great work you're doing.
Right.
And that's
So.
kind of what we're doing. We're trying to stop people from doing that. Say, listen,
Hmm.
monitor your successes. And I'll leave you with this. There's a quote that I use a lot. You may like this quote. I'm not sure, but it says this: "You could be winning and think you're losing if you're not keeping the score."
Wow.
You know what I mean? So yeah, and so now somebody's coming in, but it's way too late.
Right. I have a question that
Yeah.
has nothing what
Mm,
do. As
mm.
far as I am a certified life coach
Okay.
as well.
Hmm.
How do you like really get your business? How did you get it going?
It's it's
That's my thing.
yeah, it's a lot of work, and
Hmm.
I'll say this: you just have to niche it to an area that you really, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, you really, and then you gotta like connect and partner with people who know what's going on. They can either
Okay.
coach you or give you advice. Like the thing that helped me a lot was I associated with successful coaches
Hmm.
and successful speakers. So if you ever want to talk about that, reach out to me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'll give you my email address in the chat feature. That way you'll have it.
Okay.
I'm gonna put that in there, and yeah, and that way you can always reach out to me. I'm gonna do something real quick and let this person know. I'm gonna let them in and let them know we're done. But I
Hmm.
will send a video to them so they can. I just want to let them know that they can come on.
Okay.
And so if they're still there, they may have left. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, all right. Hello. Hello. Well, I don't know if you can hear me or not, Bobby, but we just had this coaching session, and We're done. Because Essie and I had a wonderful conversation. But if you would like, if you put your email in the chat feature, I will send you the video. That way you can kind of see what we talked about. All right. But because of the numbers that we have had today, we didn't make it a full blown. We kind of just went through each of the materials. So I don't know if you can hear me or not, Bobby. But if you're interested, I can send you the information if you put your email in the chat feature. So,
Can
but
you hear can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. So
Yes.
I was logging. Are you Dr. Andrews?
I wish I was Dr. Andrews. I don't have a doctor's degree, but I'll take it.
Clicking logging on for that. I don't know what happened. It was supposed to start at 1 o'clock.
It did, yes, and it did start at 1. Yep.
We're an hour behind.
Ah, now where are you located?
Yes, it's just 1 o'clock to us here.
Yeah, it was 1 o'clock Eastern. Where are you located?
Only Illinois.
Oh, only Illinois. Okay. Well, like I said, do me a favor. Type your chat name in the chat feature. I will send you it. You'll still get the information. It just will be. It should be a video because
I thought
all right.
I was signing up for a 3-hour program.
Say it again.
This was supposed to be a 3-hour program.
Yeah, it was, but because the numbers were so short that we decided to cut it down some. Yep.
Okay.
And so now, did you sign up? You said.
Oh, we got this email yesterday saying it was going to be today at 1.
Yeah.
They opened it at 3.
That's exactly what I did because it was initially a paid program, and then I just said, well, we're not getting the numbers, so I went ahead and made it that. But what I'm saying to you is you will get the information if you just give me your email address.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let me give it to you now.
Yeah, let me.
If not, you can give me yours and I can email it to you.
Okay, yes, I'm Coach D. Mine is in there already. If you look in the chat, you see the chat feature. You go in there. Can you see it? It's at info@CoachDSpeaks.com and Coach D at CoachDSpeaks.com. There's two. I have two of them right there. Yep.
Just a moment. I hit the wrong button.
Yeah, it's just the chat. If you go down to the chat where it says chat and click on that, you should see it.
No, I've lost it here.
Okay. Then just give me yours. Let me go ahead and I can.
Okay, it's B.
Just 1 second. I'm gonna go in my section notes here. Okay. B.
And then it's HART.
Yep.
WALKA.
WALKA. Okay.
At.
Okay.
CEFS.
Say it again.
CE.
Okay.
F.
S.
Yes. EOC.
EOC. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Let me get that. I got the wrong one. EOC. Okay.
.org.
.org. Now, what's your organization do? What do y'all do?
We do the workforce training, classroom training.
Okay.
Adults, dislocated workers.
Oh, okay. Okay. Very good. Yeah. We've done quite a bit at, particularly in Texas. Texas has a lot of rapid response, and we've done a lot of training with them. Let me make sure I got the email correct. BHARTWALKA.
Yes.
At CEFSEOC.org.
CEFSEOC.org.
Oh, so there's no F in there. CEFSEOC or no S in there?
No, there is an S. CEFSEOC.org.
That's what I have. And spell your name, so I can have the name as well. All right.
My name. Wait a minute here. Okay, hold on.
Yes.
I might. There, I hit the right chat box. I've got you, Coach D. At Coach.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And what's your first name? I'm sure your last name. What's your first name?
Bobby.
Bobby. Okay. All right. We got you in there. All right. So I'll send it off to you once we upload it. Okay. And thank you for coming on board. And Essie, thank you so much. I enjoyed the conversation. You were wonderful.
No problem. Thank you. I enjoyed it as well.
And when you get this, Bobby, you'll get a lot out of it. I promise you. There was a lot of good conversation. You can share with your team.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
You got it. Take care now. Bye, everybody. Bye bye.
Have a great one.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.